Let's talk about 3 ways to validate a micro niche. Now, being a go to expert for a specific health issue takes time, standing out from the crowd takes work. Embracing your business's marketing personality takes clarity, but I can tell you that there is no better time to start positioning yourself as the go to expert. And it doesn't matter if you're just getting started or if you've been in business for 5, 10 years and you still feel like your marketing is not on point and you still feel like your offers aren't where they need to be because you just don't have the leads and clients that you want. Well, it's time to really take a look at the micro offer. And just like no one ever said, I wish I would have waited to start my business. Well, no one I've ever talked to with a super successful offer that was micro niched said they wish they would have waited. So I know we've talked about niches and, your offer and your focus earlier in this series, but today I really want to dive into how specificity in this can really be powerful. And so let's get started. My name is Elia Foshron. I'm the co-founder of Move, Think, Smile, and we help health and wellness companies. Well, we help make their marketing work. And like I mentioned, today I really want to emphasize the micro niche or the micro offer. Now, you've probably heard people talking about this, and you might have thought like they're the same thing, like a niche, an offer, micro, all these kind of different things. And you might be like, geez, like seriously, more terminology, like what is a micro niche and how is it different from a regular niche? And so all the fancy verbiage is just another way of thinking differently about your offer. And that's really what I want to do for you today, is to give you some really specific examples that are just going to shake up your thinking about what you want your offer to be or how you want to improve your current offer. And that's the goal, to think differently, along with giving you what I promised, which is 3 ways to validate that micro offer. So let's get back to it. I want to just start with, typically what we see is a niche focuses on serving specific groups of clients with health issues, but a micro niche focuses on a very narrow, unique subcategory of that niche. So typically, generally, most of the time, niches focus on that health problem, while the micro niche really includes factors like age, gender, career status, things like, relationship status, ethnicity, or location. So I want to give you a couple of examples. So I want you to imagine moving from I help people lower their A1C naturally, which is pretty darn specific. It's quite good, to I help corporate women who want to lower their A1C. So notice again how that level of specificity really adds to your ability to be able to bring in your ideal client and to really let people know why they should choose you over someone else that can help lower their A1C naturally, because maybe you fall in that corporate women's category. Or what about this? I specialize in women of color who are diabetic, reverse their diagnosis. Or I work with women over 30 who struggle with Hashimoto's. Or this is where Utah goes to overcome Hashimoto's. Or maybe it's the go-to nutritionist for female lawyers in Los Angeles. Super, super specific. But by honing in on a specific health problem and the exact group of people that are most affected by it, you really can stand out from the crowd. So I want you to think about it this way. Let's just take this for example. You're a sales professional who wants to increase their sales, but you're battling fatigue and brain fog. And so you're not pulling those long days. So I want you to think, which messaging would speak more to this person? A, hey, want to double your energy and feel great so you can level up your career? Or B, sales professionals ready to double your energy so you can surpass your quotas and make more sales? I think you can see that the answer is clear. And this is where I want you thinking when it comes to your offers. When you create micro niche offers, you're not just narrowing down your target audience, you're positioning yourself as an authority in the space, which is going to separate you from all the other people out there that might be doing the exact same things. So instead of being a fitness coach who helps everyone get in shape, well, you could specialize in helping new moms in New York City get their pre-baby body back so they can feel confident again. And as you can see, well, the possibilities are endless. So, you might be thinking, well, what if I micro niche too far? What if there aren't enough people with a specific problem? I mean, it's definitely a valid concern. I hear you. This is important, right? And there are 3 guidelines that I think will really help you validate your micro offer. Let's look at guideline number 1. We want to look at the numbers. So if you work with people online, the entire world is your oyster. But let's keep it simple. And let's say you work with people only in the US. And let's say, you want to ask yourself, are there more than 500,000 people who have this problem? For example, are there more than 500,000 salespeople in the US who could be exhausted and not hitting their sales numbers? I'd say there's a pretty good chance of that, right? Are there more than 500,000 women of color with a high A1C? Or are there more than 500,000 women with Hashimoto's? Okay, so we want to think about this for a minute, right? Because I want you to notice how this last one could get tricky because Hashimoto's is a very small subset of autoimmune issues. And of course, some women might have Hashimoto's and, well, not even know it. Which brings us to guideline number 2. Is your audience sophisticated? Now, I'm not talking about whether they know which fork to use in a 5-star restaurant. It's about whether your potential clients know they have the diagnosis or not. This is a consideration for your micro niche and how you want to communicate with them. So, do you speak to the diagnosis or do you speak to the biggest symptom bothering them? Because maybe they know or maybe they don't know that it's actually Hashimoto's. And so this is where doing some research can be helpful. I want you to think about, find out how many women will get diagnosed with Hashimoto's this year, right? And then take that number and ask yourself, if I just converted 0.5% of them, how many clients might I have this year? And I think you're getting my drift. So let's move on to guideline number 3. Let's say you do have a source. You have a source for referrals. Let's say you have a strong referral system from a hospital because, well, either A, you used to work there, or maybe you have a strong relationship with the head of oncology. And let's say you can help people with stage 4 cancer. Now, here's a super duper micro niche, which is that helping people diagnosed with stage 4 cancer prepare themselves and their families for the best quality of life with the time they have left. You could go that tiny, that small, because you have a pool of people being funneled to you. There is a need and there is a source. And that means, bingo, it's time to go transform more lives. So when you're looking to make your marketing work better, remember these 3 key points. Look for ratios to ensure that there's a sizable market. Understand your audience sophistication to tailor your communication, and identify a reliable source to funnel clients to you. Building a successful micro niche isn't always a quick fix, and it does take time and patience and persistence. And while most health and wellness professionals might strike gold overnight, for most, I would have to say it's a gradual process that can take anywhere from 6 months to a year or even longer to really gain traction as you keep honing in on this micro offer. And the time it takes really depends on a whole lot of factors. If you have an audience, if you have an active email list, the ability to do paid ads, or a strong referral network. All of these things matter when it comes to how quickly you're going to be able to get launched. But here's the thing. The time and effort you put into crafting a targeted value-packed offer for a specific micro niche is absolutely worth it in the long run. So even if it takes you a little bit more time, it's really going to lay a foundation for a thriving business as you move along. And while you're working on this, just keep celebrating those wins along the way, every new lead, every happy client, every glowing testimonial you have, because, yep, you got it. You're awesome, right? So these are all the proof that you are on the right track. When you look at these guidelines, you ask yourself these questions, you're going to be really making a difference in people's lives because you're going to be standing out from the crowd. So if for any reason you're feeling impatient or discouraged, just remember that marketing is not an overnight phenomenon in most cases. Of course, there's always the unicorn out there that's going to get immediate results. But for most, getting more clients from marketing efforts is the result of consistent, purposeful action towards getting that message in front of enough of the right people. So keep showing up, keep refining your offer, and keep serving your micro niche with all you've got, and the results are going to follow.